I am announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
Prove you are you or lose access to your life. It is as simple as that. At least, that is what UK Prime Minister Starmer said until UK citizens protested and pushed back, putting a pause on the no ID, no work policy. But is it really that simple? And can we avoid these systems much longer? If you think about how conditioned we already are, your answer will probably be no. Digitalization has taken over our world, even if it's not too noticeable yet. Take this fingerprint-enabled
3-month trial. The small battery in the reader is enough to power the card. After seeing my thumb from 5 different angles, it's happy.
So today we are breaking down how this digital system works, why it is the invisible fence for the modern world, and what your options are. Identifying yourself used to be a simple manual transaction. You carried a piece of plastic or a paper certificate, showed it when necessary, and the rest of the time you remained anonymous. But the new digital ID systems change all that. Think of it this way. With a physical ID, you choose when to present it, but a digital ID is always on. It's like the very upgraded version of having your phone's location always on. But in this case, whoever's in charge isn't letting you turn it off as you wish. That's why investigative journalist Whitney Webb said that while Silicon Valley billionaires might fund different political parties, they actually agree on the most important goals.
And Reid Hoffman and David Sachs and Elon Musk are all part of the so-called PayPal mafia. They just happen to fund different parties, and all of these oligarchs at the end of the day, do they frame the reasoning for why they want these policies differently. They agree about more biometric surveillance, they agree about digital ID, and they ultimately agree about programmable surveillable currency, whether it's a CBDC or a private bank digital currency that's also surveillable and programmable.
The evidence and trends she has seen show that these powerful leaders all want more biometric surveillance, digital IDs, and money that the government can track and control. Whether they support a specific candidate or not, their ultimate aim is to create a system that allows them to monitor every transaction and person. Webb warns that these groups are working together to build this infrastructure, which would take away individual privacy and financial freedom. And this is what it means in practice. First, there is the biometric gateway. We are seeing the privatization of controversial surveillance programs.
It's for the first several years of its existence, Palantir's only client was the CIA, so the CIA was their first main funder alongside Thiel himself. And it was really the deliberate resurrection by Thiel and Alex Karp of a failed DARPA public-private surveillance program called Total Information Awareness, and they went to the people that were running Total Information Awareness after it was shut down by Congress and basically tried to pick their brains about how to make a private-only version of this public-private partnership that was criticized by everyone, even in mainstream media, and pretty much every advocacy organization in the United States said this will eliminate privacy for every American, and it's blatantly unconstitutional. And so they just recreated it as a private sector entity. And now Palantir doesn't just do that for the U.S. government; they do it for Wall Street as well. And there's been quotes to the effect that Palantir doesn't just run the intelligence community, they also run Wall Street.
With digital IDs, it's about a public-private partnership in which big tech companies and the government join forces to keep a constant eye on you. They are building a giant central file that tracks everything you do, both online and in the real world. Instead of being an individual with privacy, you become a digital data point that the government can monitor at any moment. This system is being set up right now across the US and Europe to turn your identity into a permanent digital shadow that follows you everywhere.
So if you're a libertarian that wants to make government smaller and reduce the excesses and abuses of a government that's gotten out of control, why would you give the most out of control part of the government, the CIA, the most powerful and damaging to freedom weapon in its entire arsenal that's been used to profile Americans for the past 20 years based off of, all of the data we've freely put online? including on social networks like Facebook, which Peter Thiel it wouldn't exist without Peter Thiel. Yes, it's Mark Zuckerberg made it and whatever, but the person that made it what it is was Peter Thiel, because he was the first big outside investor.
Oh, wow.
And the jump from being this little goofy thing on a couple college campuses to being a global social network. And he only left the board relatively recently, a few years ago. So,
oh my gosh.
And another Thiel-funded company, Clearview AI, scraped all of the pictures for its facial recognition database off of Facebook, which again, Facebook was also a resurrection of a DARPA program related to total information awareness called LifeLog, by the way. And so basically, Peter Thiel was privatizing all of these very controversial surveillance programs for the intelligence community. And then again, Clearview AI took all of our faces off of Facebook that we freely shared.
Oh my God.
And used it to create a facial recognition database that law enforcement has. And in their sales pitch, they brag about identifying people that were at the Capitol on January 6, 2021, Trump supporters, and passing it all to law enforcement.
So you see, Clearview AI, a company funded by Peter Thiel, scraped billions of faces from social media to create a facial recognition database for law enforcement. And Webb is warning that powerful people are building a digital trap for the average person. The big tech companies and the government are working together to end your privacy. By using your social media data and facial recognition, they can track everything you do. Their goal is to connect your identity to a digital wallet that they control. This means the government or a bank could monitor every dollar you spend and even stop you from buying certain things. This means that it will turn regular citizens into sheep who have to follow strict rules just to access the internet or buy food.
Free, it's not going to cost you anything. It makes life easier for you if you're of working age and you want to get a job, and it makes it easier for your boss to be able to comply with the law. So lots of other countries use government digital ID.
Like the UK government, they're probably going to say it will make your life easier, or even make it look voluntary and necessary at the same time. That voluntary adoption is the trick the system uses to get you on board. Instead of forcing you to sign up on day one, they sell it as a way to make your life easier and safer. They frame digital ID as a VIP pass for faster travel or extra security for your money, making it seem like something you want to join. But here is the catch. Opting out is becoming nearly impossible. As these systems grow, refusing to join could mean getting locked out of basic things like your bank account, the internet, or even buying food.
I guess the common theme here is to not be naive, to be vigilant, and to perhaps distrust billionaires just a little bit more, and spend a lot more time, in your local community and with people who matter to you, and thinking about how we're going to opt out of these policies that everyone in politics is going to try and impose on us one way or another, and how we're going to, get through that as a community, because all of these things, digital ID, programmable, surveillable money, it's not going to happen if people don't use them.
So Webb warns that while they call it a choice, they are actually building a world where you can't survive without one. And you may have to fight not to use them, but will that actually work?
We say no to digital ID. We say no to digital ID. We say no to digital ID.
The thing is that Webb's advice might be intellectually sound. Following it may be a tad difficult.
Multiple ways. You can look at Australia or Denmark or Estonia, other places in Europe. I think everybody gets that it's really a question of fairness, right? People who are working in the UK need to have the legal right to work here. Now, for the vast majority of us, that's just given because we're British citizens, we have indefinite leave to remain, we have the right to work here. We've still got to prove that, but it doesn't affect us particularly in any way. Where it really matters is for people who are trying to work here illegally, and for rogue employers who know they're breaking the rules by employing people illegally and often treating them quite badly, not paying things like the national minimum wage, not paying their tax in the way that they're supposed to. So our digital right to work check makes the country much more secure, because it means that we can hone in on those dodgy employers employing people illegally much more effectively and tackle illegal work. If employers are employing people illegally, we know where to send the enforcement staff.
For one, many countries already use these digital IDs, and they seem to have good reasons for it. Besides, the UK government only paused its policies due to public outcry. It did not cancel the need for digital IDs. Instead, they simply moved the target date to 2029. By then, proving your right to work will likely require a digital ID.
The United Nations, for example, has been beta testing that exact system for years on the most vulnerable people in the world, on refugees, through things like the Building Blocks program of the World Food Program, where refugees have to scan their eyeball and make a digital ID and have a digital wallet, and they can go in and get their rations, but only if they scan their eyeball. They have to pay with their face, otherwise they don't eat. They've been testing this on the most vulnerable people on the world, but it's a system that's intended for everybody.
And if the United Nations can make refugees use digital IDs, what says we will avoid using it too? The system only works if we accept the convenience, if we trade our right to remain anonymous for the illusion of a smoother experience. The question is, will you jettison work for privacy, or will you succumb to the convenience now and deal with the consequences later?